Hello and welcome to Stories for Sleepless Nights. My name is Luna, and I am here to share tales that will help you relax and drift into a peaceful sleep. Here, we explore many different topics. We talk about history, ancient myths, the wonders of nature, and the lives of interesting people. We also touch on philosophy and many other subjects. Our goal is always to help you unwind and find calm at the end of your day. If there is a story or a topic you would like to hear about, please let us know in the comments. We love hearing your ideas. Also, remember to follow us on Spotify and YouTube so you do not miss any new episodes. Tonight, we will journey back in time to the Golden Age of Piracy. We will learn about one of the most famous and fearsome figures to ever sail the seas, the legendary Blackbeard. His name alone sent shivers down the spines of sailors and kings alike. Before we dive into his story, let us take a moment to prepare for sleep. Find a comfortable position, whether you are lying in bed or sitting in a cozy chair. Gently close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. Feel your chest rise and your belly expand. Hold it for just a moment. Now, slowly let the breath out through your mouth. Let all the tension leave your body. Take another deep breath in. Feel the air fill your lungs. Hold it and slowly breathe out. Let your shoulders drop. Feel your body becoming heavy and relaxed. One more deep breath in. Hold it gently and slowly, softly, let it all go. Allow yourself to settle into this moment. The story of Blackbeard will now unfold, guiding you gently towards sleep. Tonight, we begin to uncover the true story of Blackbeard. The man behind the terrifying name was born Edward Teach. Historians believe he likely came from Bristol, a busy port city in England. Not much is known about his early life. What is known is that he first sailed the seas not as a pirate, but as a privateer. This was during a time known as Queen Anne's War. It was also called the War of the Spanish Succession. Privateers were like legal pirates. They were given a special letter from their government called a letter of marque. This letter allowed them to attack and capture enemy ships during wartime. They shared their loot with the government. It was a way for nations to fight without spending too much money on a large navy. The line between privateering and piracy was very thin. A privateer was loyal to their home country. They only attacked many ships. A pirate, however, attacked any ship for their own gain. They had no loyalty to any flag. When the war ended in 1713, many privateers found themselves without work. The letters of marque were no longer valid. For many skilled sailors, turning to piracy became their only option. This is exactly what happened to Edward Teach. Teach began his pirate career under the command of a famous pirate captain named Benjamin Hornigold. Hornigold was based in the Bahamas, a common hideout for pirates. Under Hornigold, Teach learned many things. He learned how to navigate ships through tricky waters. He learned how to lead a crew. He learned how to plan attacks and board enemy vessels. He watched Hornigold's tactics. He saw how to use fear and surprise. This was his real schooling in the ways of the sea and the ways of piracy. Teach quickly showed his skills and courage. He earned Hornigold's trust and respect. Hornigold soon gave Teach command of his own ship. It was a small, fast sloop. This was a significant step for Teach. He now had his own vessel and his own crew. He was no longer just a sailor. He was a captain. As the war ended, many privateers like Teach found themselves out of a job. They had learned how to fight and how to take ships. They knew the Caribbean like the back of their hand. With no war to fight for their country, they decided to fight for themselves. This created a new wave of piracy. Edward Teach was now ready to become one of its most feared leaders. Edward Teach, now a captain in his own right, soon set his sights on a grander vessel. His opportunity came in November 1717. He was sailing near the island of Martinique when he spotted a large French merchant ship. This ship was called La Concorde. It was a well-built vessel, measuring over 100 feet long. Teach and his crew attacked and captured the ship. This was a major prize. Teach wasted no time in making the ship his own. He renamed her the Queen Anne's Revenge. His crew worked to transform the merchant ship into a powerful warship. They added more cannons, bringing the total to 40 guns. These cannons were large and heavy, capable of causing great damage. The ship was made ready for battle, strong and fast. With this formidable ship, Teach was ready to become a legend. It was around this time that Edward Teach began to craft his fearsome image. He wanted to strike terror into the hearts of his enemies before a single shot was fired. This was the birth of Blackbeard. His appearance was carefully designed to be terrifying. His long, black beard was his most striking feature. He often braided it and tied it with colorful ribbons. But it was what he did next that truly made him a frightful sight. Before a battle, Blackbeard would tuck slow-burning fuses into his beard and under the brim of his hat. These fuses would smolder and smoke, giving off a sulphurous smell. The smoke would swirl around his face, making him look like a demon rising from the depths. He would carry multiple pistols and cutlasses. With the smoky beard, his wild eyes, and his array of weapons, he appeared like a figure from a nightmare. This terrifying appearance was part of his strategy. It was psychological warfare. When merchant ships saw the Queen Anne's Revenge approaching, and then saw Blackbeard himself, they often surrendered without a fight. The mere sight of him could make crews drop their weapons. This allowed Blackbeard to take ships and their valuable cargo with little bloodshed. He preferred to use fear over force. Blackbeard's reputation quickly spread across the seas. Sailors whispered his name in fear. Colonial governors worried about his raids. His crew grew larger, attracting many desperate men looking for plunder. He commanded a fleet of ships, not just one. He became a dominant force. From the warm waters of the Caribbean to the bustling ports along the American coast, Blackbeard was known. His name struck terror, and his power seemed to grow with every captured vessel. Blackbeard's growing power meant he needed a clear way to manage his large crew. He established a set of rules, often called articles, that all his men had to follow. These articles laid out how plunder would be divided. They also described punishments for breaking the rules. Discipline was important on his ships. Each man knew his share of the loot. He knew his duties. This helped Blackbeard keep control of his many vessels and hundreds of men. His fearsome reputation was his greatest weapon. When Blackbeard's ships were spotted on the horizon, merchant captains often felt a chill. They knew what was coming. Blackbeard would approach, his black flag flying. The sight of the Queen Anne's Revenge, with its many cannons, was enough to make most crews surrender. They did not want to face Blackbeard himself, with his smoky beard and many weapons. Often, no shots were fired. The merchant ship would simply stop, and its crew would raise a white flag. This saved Blackbeard time and gunpowder. It also saved lives, as he preferred not to kill if he could avoid it. He wanted the cargo, not a bloody fight. Blackbeard's piratical empire stretched far and wide. He sailed through the warm waters of the Caribbean Sea, raiding ships around islands like Hispaniola and Cuba. Then he would move north along the American coast. His ships were seen off the shores of Virginia, Maryland, and North Carolina. He knew these waters well. His vast area of operation made him very hard to catch. Authorities in one colony might send ships after him, but he would simply slip into the waters of another colony. Blackbeard was not just a wild brute. He was a smart man. He had good navigational skills. He knew how to read the stars and charts. He was also a clever strategist. He understood the currents and the shallow inlets along the coast. He would often hide his ships in these shallow waters, where larger British naval vessels could not follow. This allowed him to evade capture for a long time. He planned his attacks carefully. He chose his targets wisely. His name alone was enough to spread terror. Merchant sailors refused to sail certain routes, fearing they would cross Blackbeard's path. Colonial governors wrote letters to England, begging for more warships to stop him. The thought of Blackbeard arriving in their ports made many people sleepless. He truly was a living legend, one who commanded fear and respect across the seas. Blackbeard's fame was at its peak. He decided to use his power in a new, daring way. In May of 1718, he sailed his fleet toward Charlestown, which is now Charleston, South Carolina. This was a major port. Blackbeard did not plan a simple raid. He planned a full blockade. He positioned his ships to stop all traffic in and out of the harbor. His reason for this was urgent. Many of his crew members were very sick. They needed medicine. Blackbeard decided to hold the entire town hostage to get it. His ships captured every vessel trying to enter or leave the port. He seized 9 ships in total. On board one of these ships, he found some important people, including a member of the Colonial Council. Blackbeard held these prominent citizens for ransom. He sent a man ashore with a message. Blackbeard demanded a chest full of medicine. If the town did not comply, he threatened to kill the hostages and burn all the captured ships. The people of Charlestown were terrified. They had no choice but to agree. After tense negotiations, the medicine was gathered. Blackbeard kept his word. He released the hostages and the captured ships. He then sailed away, leaving the town in shock. This brazen act sent shivers through the colonies. It showed that Blackbeard could challenge official authority right in its own backyard. The British Empire was deeply concerned. Such an act could not go unpunished for long. However, a new opportunity arose for pirates. King George I of England issued a royal decree. It was called the King's Pardon. This pardon offered amnesty to any pirate who surrendered by a certain date. They would be forgiven for their past crimes if they stopped pirating. Many pirates took this chance to start a new life. Blackbeard, surprisingly, decided to accept the pardon. In June 1718, he sailed his ship to Bath, North Carolina. He surrendered to Governor Charles Eden. He promised to give up piracy. For a short time, it seemed Blackbeard had truly retired. He even married a local woman. He tried to live a normal life on land. Yet, many colonial authorities did not believe Blackbeard had truly changed his ways. They watched him with great suspicion. They wondered how long he could stay away from the sea and his old life. Blackbeard's quiet life did not last long. The call of the sea and the thrill of plunder were too strong for him. He soon returned to his old ways. He began seizing ships again, though perhaps not with the same large fleet as before. It was even whispered that Governor Charles Eden of North Carolina might have known about Blackbeard's actions. Some believed the governor even profited from them, looking the other way while Blackbeard sailed the waters. But in Virginia, Governor Alexander Spotswood was growing very angry. He saw Blackbeard as a constant danger to trade and peace. Spotswood was determined to put an end to Blackbeard's reign once and for all. He knew he could not wait for North Carolina to act. He took matters into his own hands. Governor Spotswood decided to fund a naval expedition himself. He did this even though he had no direct power over North Carolina's waters. He chose Lieutenant Robert Maynard of the Royal Navy to lead the mission. Maynard was given 2 small sloops, the Ranger and the Jane. These were light, fast sailing ships. In November of 1718, Maynard set out with his men. Their goal was to hunt down Blackbeard, Maynard found Blackbeard anchored in Ocracoke Inlet off the coast of North Carolina. Blackbeard had a smaller crew with him, about 20 men. They were aboard his sloop, the Adventure. The pirates were surprised by Maynard's arrival, but Blackbeard was not one to back down from a fight. As Maynard's sloops moved closer, Blackbeard's men fired their cannons. Many of Maynard's men were killed or wounded in the first volleys. Maynard's sloop, the Jane, ran aground. He ordered his men to hide below deck, making it seem like most of them were dead. Blackbeard saw this and believed he had won. He ordered his men to board Maynard's ship. Blackbeard himself led the charge. He swung onto the deck of the Jane. He was a terrifying sight. His long, black beard was braided. He had several pistols tucked into his belt and a cutlass in his hand. The hidden British sailors then sprang out from below deck. A brutal hand-to-hand battle began. The fight was fierce and bloody. Blackbeard fought with incredible fury. He faced Lieutenant Maynard directly. They exchanged pistol shots. Blackbeard was hit, but he kept fighting. Swords clashed. Blackbeard received many more wounds. He was shot at least 5 times and cut more than 20 times. Still, he fought on, a true force of nature. But even Blackbeard could not last forever. Finally, a British sailor delivered a deep cut to his neck. Blackbeard fell to the deck, ending his life. The battle was over. Blackbeard was dead. Lieutenant Maynard then cut off Blackbeard's head. He hung it from the bowsprit, the long pole at the front of his sloop. This was a grim warning to all pirates and a sign that Blackbeard's reign was truly finished. His death marked a turning point. It signaled the beginning of the end for the Golden Age of Piracy. With Blackbeard's dramatic end, the age of grand piracy slowly faded away. His story, though filled with danger and excitement, now comes to a close. As we leave the turbulent seas and the legendary pirate behind, it is time to turn our attention back to ourselves. Allow your body to sink deeper into wherever you are resting. Feel the weight of your body pressing down. There is nothing left to do now but relax. Let us begin a passive body scan. Simply notice each part of your body without trying to change anything. Start with your toes. Feel them resting. Notice any sensation there. Then slowly move your awareness up through your feet. Feel the soles, the tops, and the heels. Notice their presence. Continue this gentle journey up your ankles and into your lower legs. Feel your calves and shins. Let them feel heavy and relaxed. Move your awareness to your knees, then up your thighs. Feel the large muscles resting. Let go of any tightness you might find. Now bring your attention to your hips and your torso. Feel your abdomen rising and falling gently with your breath. Notice your back resting against the surface beneath you. Allow your chest to soften. Feel your shoulders dropping down, away from your ears. Move your awareness down your arms, from your shoulders to your elbows, then to your forearms, wrists, and hands. Feel your fingers resting, perhaps curled slightly. Let any tension in your arms and hands simply melt away. Next, bring your attention to your neck. Feel the gentle curve. Let your head feel heavy and supported. Finally, bring your awareness to your face. Soften your jaw, your cheeks, your eyes. Let your forehead be smooth. Allow your whole body to feel completely at ease, heavy and still. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Stories for Sleepless Nights, and that the tale of Blackbeard helped you find some rest and get away from your thoughts. You can find Stories for Sleepless Nights on Spotify and YouTube. If you have a story or a topic you would like us to explore in a future episode, please feel free to add it in the comment box. I am Luna, and I hope to join you again soon for another story. Until then, I wish you a very good night.